Welcome, YouTube. Welcome to another episode of Kaiju number 8. This is your boy Deathstrike coming to you with chapter 8 of Kaiju number 8. Uh, chapter 8 of Kaiju number 8. Now, I'm not too sure. I don't remember. I think this is the chapter where I left off at. I did end up reading this chapter. This is one of the ones that I did read. But I don't know if this is the last one I read when the series was first beginning. The manga was first beginning, so I'll find out as I'm reading it. But hopefully after this, chapter 9, then everything will sort of be like a surprise, right? It will be like a live reaction. And you'll get my honest, like, first impression and really a reaction, to be honest. Because while I'm reading this, I'm sort of like, or I sort of have an idea what's going to happen. So, I mean, I knew that he was going to pop up in front of her. But, you guys didn't know. So, we left off, Kikoto was really badly injured. She was finally having that flashback, seeing her life flash right in front of her eyes, and she, right when she was giving up and she was about to get blasted by the Honju that was resurrected and upgraded in power level by whatever being that was. Kafka pops up in front of her and he says, "Don't worry about it. You did great. Everybody evacuated because of you. I'm taking them from here." And right in front of her, she's like, "What? What are you talking about?" And just like that, he transformed into a kaiju right in front of her. She's in shock, and the episode starts with that. So let's continue. Excuse me, guys. Been drinking some of these brewskis out here, so you know how it is. So come on, get the freaking lead out, you lugs. Make a break for the shelters on the double. All right. The defense force should be here any minute. We better evacuate. Are you alright? Are there any others in that area? Right, well, technically, we're the last ones out, but Kikoto Shinomiya, holding up the Honju on her own. She's all busted up. Shinomiya is there, sir? What should we... Wait, he's already gone. There's no way he transformed right now, right? If he turned into a kaiju now, he just wind up getting killed. No, he'd do it in a situation like this. He'd do it without a second thought. So this is right before Kafka left. Ichikawa, Kafka, he can feel that Shinomiya was there, and wherever that thing's present is at, he can feel the presence, and he's like, "Oh man, it's time for me to go." So he goes in that direction. And he pops up right in front of her, and she's surprised to see that he turned into a kaiju, and she's like, what's the big idea? You were a kaiju the entire time? Don't tell me you and that other one are in league, are each in league with each other." Or Kikoto, and then he says, "Kikoto, please, pretty please, I beg of you, keep this a secret from the defense force." Yeah, she's like a shot. Just firing a second shot. This is bad. So he's begging her not to tell the defense force, and she's like, "Yo, are you and the other guy, like, you guys like in league with each other? What's going on here?" So right when he's saying that, he's begging her, the thing starts firing a second shot quickly. Kafka just blocks it. "I'll fill you in later. Just need a sec to take this thing down. So kick back and relax." So he powers up. "I'm detecting an abnormally high energy emission near the Honjo's location. It is a new kaiju. What did you say? Do you have visual?" A combination of dust and clouds and network disturbances are preventing visual confirmation. Hold on. What is this reading? 42, 9.8. So she says that a 6.8 is needed to take down, like, only a power of a 6.8. Only the captain and the vice captain can be able to take out a 6.8 when the Honju upgraded. So now the power that Kafka is giving up is about a 42 to a 9.8. So it's a, somewhat stronger than whatever that is. Are you nuts? That last joke must have thrown the calculation device out of whack. Yeah, yes, that must be it. Because if it isn't an error, then whatever this is would go down in history books as one of the greatest kaiju to ever exist. A Kaiju. So I'm gonna read this again so you guys can understand it, because if the vice president and the president can take down a 6.8 and he's a 9.8, then he's saying that there's an error because this will go down in history books as one of the greatest kaiju to ever exist, a daikaiju. Now, 9.8, maybe in the scale, in the gram scale of things, is probably a high number, but because that this manga has just started, I have to say that 9.8 is gonna end up turning out to be probably a low number because must have happened where something must be happening where um 9.8 is strong. Kafka hasn't even mastered this thing yet, and he's a 9.8. So, and they calling him a daikaiju, right? A daikaiju, which means because, and it says is one of the greatest kaiju to ever exist. So, whatever's going on now, where humans are turning into kaiju, this is just probably the beginning. A 9.8 is probably gonna be low right now, and as we find out that there's more human and more threat, then 9.8 is just probably the beginning because Kafka can't had this is not One Punch Man where Kafka is the strongest ever, right? So we'll find out. So here we go. Gya Kafka, the thing is jumping at him. He looks like he's electrifying his muscles. Power. He goes kick. Sorry, time's a ticking, so I'm cleaning you up in one shot. It seems like his elbows open up and there's like a mouth that opens up with a hole in the middle. And I don't know if what they're doing is sucking out power or whatever, but his face turns like black and white. He's electrified all over. The thing in the middle looks like it's like power going in the middle of his elbow, the hole. It's like, I don't know, it might be sucking in power. He goes, he punches the Honju. The Honju actually looks like a humanoid. Has like a big armament on that. When did it turn into humanoid? That's like a skeleton armament on it. Boom. So the arm, all the muscles of the Honju start like, like the muscles just start like separating and, and boom, that's it. Game over. He's dead. One shot. Let's see, and let's say you try and come back after that one. I was just kidding. I swear, please don't come back. Don't freak out. Don't freak me out like that. What is this guy? Even if my body was perfect, I'd never be able to beat him. Hey Joju, you seem to be all right from the looks of things. Glad you're safe. Oh, but one one piece of advice. You need to make your own safety more you need to make your own safety more of a priority. I could have I could say the same to you. Ichikawa, what are you doing here? You rushed off on your own without a word to me. And just like I figured you made a spectacle of yourself and transformed. Well, I thought maybe I could get by with just transforming individual body parts, but once I saw what I was going up against, I realized that that wasn't going to fly. Whatever, just be more careful about Chino Chinomiya op, operation room. Ashira and Hoshina here. We're at the scene. So that's why they're talking. Shimonia, she passes out. She falls asleep, and we find out in this episode that Kafka is a daikaiju and is one of the strongest to ever exist in history. So, like I was just mentioning when we were discussing prior, this manga we're in chapter 8, and he's the strongest in history with a 9.8, which means that is probably not gonna be the highest number that we see. I feel like whatever that thing was that was resurrecting is probably stronger, and Kafka just learned the powers because this thing was coming. It was resurrecting. It was resurrecting Jonjus and Honjus on the side, making them stronger, giving them power. So whatever that thing was, the kaiju that was there is much more stronger. And like I said, because this manga is just starting, this is probably just a starter level. Because we're gonna end up finding out that this much more stronger kaijus and honjus there, and Kafka is gonna have to train to be stronger than them. So right now, Kafka is going around blowing things up to smithereens, but I think as he starts facing more and more smart, more and more equipped humanoids, then at that point then it'll be more of a threat. So this is just beginning. We're just scratching the surface, guys. We can see that the action is already starting to build up. The story's already starting to build up. We're already starting to see that there's evil factions involved somewhere in the background, and we're gonna probably end up finding out that the evil factions are traders that want to take over. That they start experimenting on the kaiju to try to gain powers. We already know the suit is made out of kaiju muscle fibers or what. So it's probably some faction that separated and said, I can use this to become even stronger. They probably figured out how to inject kaiju and turn people into kaiju, and that's how they probably became stronger. And that's how they probably want to take over. It's always the end game is always to take over the world. So whoever's in the back, whoever's the leader, whoever's the one running the puppet master, in all mangas, all anime, he wants to take over the world. He wants to be the strongest, take over the world, destroy the world, and we'll probably end up finding out that the world did something to him that was cruel. They picked on him when he was a kid. He was poor. He ate nothing. Yeah, I mean, not to not to make fun and just say these are tropes, but if you've seen them one, you've seen them all. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and this is not the bash Kaiju, because Kaiju has a great storyline because it's a middle-aged man, and I like the power suits, but this is the way manga start, So I mean, we love them. I mean, I love them, yeah. Even if it's similar, and I seen the recipe, the thing is, the recipe works, and the things with these animes and mangas is that the story is interesting. That even if the recipe works, sometimes the writer throws a loop in there that you didn't see coming. There's always a loop in there you didn't see coming, and you're like, wow, this is great writing, because it's all about the writing and the story and how the writer sort of mixes it up and makes you sort of he throws cliffhangers in there, because I remember when I was reading it, even though I know the formula to most of these animes and mangas, when I was reading it the first time and I got up to chapter 9 or 10, I was like, man, I need more. What is going to happen next to Kafka? What is going to happen next? So, like always, man, if you enjoy it, you love it, we keep watching it, we keep talking about it. Please stay tuned. That's it for chapter 8. It's Carlos. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you press the like button for the YouTube algorithm, and put your comments on the bottom, and I'll try to respond when I can. And like I mentioned, man, we gotta keep doing what we do. We gotta keep enjoying these shows. We gotta keep what's the word I'm trying to say here? Anyway, I'll see you next time on the next chapter, chapter 9, Kaiju number 8. Thank you. This is Death Strike, and I'm out.